All right, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm speaking to today, I'm seeing that you went through some type of really big change with the tower in your overall energy. And it left you feeling really stuck, I think, feeling really heavy, possibly really anxious about what's coming next or what do you do next? How do you come away from this change? And for many of you, it may not have been a pleasant tower moment. It may have been something that really shook you up, that really felt like the floor was pulled out from underneath you. And as a result, you could be feeling pretty scared or pretty anxious, and also anxious about how to move forward. What do I do next? But in focusing on what you're doing next, you could be sort of skipping a step of just processing what you just went through. So that's what this reading is going to be about. And I'm going to dive in deeper to these energies in a moment. But before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. I really appreciate that I can connect with you through the tarot, so thank you. If you would like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings and I love doing them. You can email me down below in the description box for a personal reading. And if this reading resonates with you, please like and subscribe so that I can connect more with you in the future. But let's take a deeper look at the energies here, Sagittarius. Your oracle cards for today are laziness, letting go, and the rebel. And laziness, I'm not taking it to mean that you're lazy. I just think it might mean that you're in a place of rest or relaxation. There also might be something that you're procrastinating on, and what you're procrastinating on could be sort of letting go of the past in order to move forward. There's something there that kind of wants to be faced, and what it is that needs to be faced might have to do with you being the rebel or being different than other people, standing out from the crowd. In the tower, in the card, the tower, there is a lightning bolt that strikes this building in the traditional Rider-Waite deck. And I'm kind of seeing that lightning bolt as being you in your surroundings. You could feel like you're a really intense person, or maybe other people have made you feel like the problem. But if you're resonating with this, I want you to know that you're not a problem. You just have something really unique to offer the world, and who you are fundamentally brings people out of their comfort zone or holds a mirror up to them and asks them to look at themselves, which for many people is going to be really uncomfortable. You're definitely someone who doesn't go with the status quo or kind of questions the status quo, and there's something in there that wants to be held and accepted, so that you can kind of let go of limiting beliefs, past beliefs. Sorry if you can hear my parents' dog in the background, Willow. She's upset that she's been kind of left out. But yeah, there's something there that wants to be looked at, and accepted for what it is. Hang on, I'm just going to close my door so that she doesn't interrupt too much. So, in the recent past, I see you kind of grappling with understanding what happened. And you're showing me kind of ultimate happiness and then like the most painful sort of betrayal or ending that you can imagine, and kind of trying to understand what happened here. How did this kind of occur? How was I so happy, and then how was there such a painful ending? And I see you really trying to make sense of your feelings and try to kind of cope with and understand and accept that at one point you might have felt really good, and then at other points you might have felt really bad, and kind of just moving through that. And as you move through that, you might feel a little bit foggy. There's a sense of kind of wanting to regain control of yourself, and not in a negative way, but just through understanding, to get a grasp on sort of what happened and how to process it here. In your emotional self, I see you disconnecting from whatever actually happened and trying to move forward. There's a real understanding here that something ended and that something else is beginning, and that you might be kind of in the midst of that process. But there's also some anxiety that comes out, or a lot of kind of overwhelming thoughts. You could feel really stressed or really anxious. You could feel really tired, even if you're not doing very much, just because this is sort of a fast moving mental energy that's kind of going on. But it's a part of your process of moving forward. And there's a lot of deep emotional processing that is happening as you kind of move on from whatever this is. That's sort of a part of that experience of closing out something and moving on to the next. I see you really kind of going into the nitty gritty details as you heal and trying to understand, how did this make me feel? And what is it that would make me feel better? It's almost like you've learned through this really difficult experience a lot about what it means to care for yourself, what it means to feel okay, to feel good. And sometimes the things that make you feel good or make you feel okay might set you apart from the rest, or might make you feel kind of alone, or it might just be kind of a solitary experience. Maybe you need to spend time by yourself. Maybe you just need kind of creature comforts. It could come through almost as indulgent if you're not used to caring for yourself on this level, but it actually comes through as a very important lesson of understanding yourself on a deeper level, and specifically understanding your needs. And for some of you, that's going to have to do even with your physical needs, like maybe needing more sleep, or needing to eat particular foods, or needing to be in a particular environment, or what types of people don't make you feel good physically, that kind of thing. And you're learning a lot about what you want kind of moving forward and what will help you feel good moving forward. So even though I see you kind of stuck in a certain way, or maybe you feel stuck, I don't actually think you're stuck. I think that underneath that feeling, there's a lot of deep emotional processing that's going on, and you're also learning a lot about yourself that's going to help you as you move forward into the next part of your journey in life. And so if you're someone who's feeling like you're at a standstill, or you don't quite know what to do next, know that this moment of pause is really important, because there's a lot that's kind of moving through your body at this time. There's a lot that's moving through your energy and your soul. And it's important that that's given the space and time to kind of be processed and to do what it needs to do. Now let's take a look at your current energy here with the Chariot. You're showing me a connection that either feels really good or felt really good, or just the idea of opening up to connecting with someone else, or other people feels really good. There's something in that feeling of connectivity that kind of inspires you to move forward, to open up, to move kind of towards your passions. Some of you could be in some type of profession that feels really good, where you help other people or you work with other people. And I see, as your heart kind of opens towards this experience, you are kind of making some type of decision here about doing that more. You're saying, this feels really good, so how can I kind of bring more of this into my life? At the same time that you're focusing on connections that feel really good, you could also have some connections coming up for you from your past that maybe aren't in your life anymore, or that you've had to grieve, connections that felt really painful. And you're kind of in this experience of turning towards connections that feel really good. And even if you don't have connections around you that feel amazing, that feel inspirational, I see you kind of making this conscious decision to open your heart up towards people who make you feel good. And part of that learning process that I talked about from the past is learning what types of connections don't feel good, and where you might have put your energy in ways that maybe hurt you more than help you, could have been a little bit sabotaging, or you could have just felt like you just kept meeting the same people in different bodies, and it was kind of heartbreak over and over again. And you're showing me this conscious decision to end kind of that way of life. You're saying there's a lot there. There's a lot of painful experiences, a lot of different relationships that might have been difficult, and I'm ready for new. I'm ready to open up to something else. And it's interesting because it comes through as a conscious choice, but also as one that's led by your heart. And you're kind of showing me I'm going to refer to my heart no matter what. Um, you know, for guidance. If it feels good, I'll go towards it. If it doesn't feel good, I won't go towards it. These are the types of people I want to be with. I want to be with people I can trust. I want to be with people who inspire me. I want passion. I want energy. I want exploration. I want fun. Um, and so you're kind of showing me that a lot of what you've learned throughout this process that I've been describing is just about relationships and being in relationship and what works for you and what doesn't. You could, again, like I said, find yourself in this in between phase where you feel kind of alone or kind of solitary. You could be someone who feels really inspired by relationships or like a really relationship oriented person, even if you are an introvert or do kind of identify with that sort of framing of being someone who is an individual and likes being by themselves. Even if you do identify with that, I see you ultimately enjoying connecting with other people to some extent, feeling really inspired and fulfilled by those connections. And so possibly wondering, am I going to connect with those people? Or am I just going to kind of be alone here? Am I going to be by myself? Let's take a deeper look here. There's a lot of stress that kind of gets in your way as you try to move forward. I saw it in your overall energy, and I'm seeing it when you look out into the future as well. And this stress kind of knocks you off your feet a little bit. It comes through as a bit like I'm getting this image of when I was like 9 years old and I would play youth soccer. And the first time that I just took a soccer ball, punted straight to my stomach, and it just completely knocked the wind out of me. And I fell to my knees. And it wasn't that bad, like it wasn't painful, but it was a really distinct feeling of like something external just knocking all the force, all the wind out of my body. And I see that on a mental level, it could feel like that to you. And you may be trying to care for yourself, trying to learn these lessons, trying to apply them, but you may not realize that what's going on in your mind, this anxiety, this mental chatter, if you're being really hard on yourself, if you're staying stuck in certain mental patterns, that's actually also a way that you could be struggling to care for yourself. That could be really wearing you down. I'm hearing it could be distracting you. It could be just kind of taking you away from yourself, from your center of gravity, from who you are, from feeling really empowered. Um, and so you could be kind of starting to get back up on your feet or looking for ways to feel more empowered here. I see you asking spirit actually and asking your higher self, looking within and looking kind of above to these higher level guides and spirituality and God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Um, Kind of to ask on a deeper level, like, what should I do to find happiness? And it could be that question that ends up stressing you out, but the answer is already within you. It's just going to come from a place of clarity and from a place of relaxation rather from that place of stress. Because when you get stressed and you get in your head, like I said, you do disconnect from yourself. And so your higher self is kind of asking you to find a certain level of equilibrium, to come to yourself with a certain level of curiosity and exploration, and find the answers that you're looking for from that place rather than from a place of stress. Spirit's saying to hang on and to really sit with kind of the way that you're feeling and to allow yourself to move through those hard thoughts. It might be a time of going within. You might spend a lot of time at home or in your bed or just by yourself as you kind of experience these things. And you could kind of stay in your comfort zone a little bit of like staying really stuck in these thoughts, in these feelings, and not reaching out for help or not expressing what you need. And so Spirit's kind of asking you to open up when you get into that place of just being by yourself and being upset and maybe sitting still or doing whatever you do where you kind of freeze in those anxious thoughts. And it kind of holds you back from stepping into your power. And so, whatever you can do to really ground yourself and to connect with something outside of yourself and to kind of quiet those thoughts. For some of you, that might be meditation. For others of you, it could be some creative outlet that helps you get into the flow. For others of you, it could be talking to a friend. Connection seems really important here. There's something about not letting your thoughts get the best of you and not staying stuck or getting lost in your head, because a lot's happened and it can be really easy to kind of ruminate and not move forward. And Spirit's not saying you have to move forward in a life perspective of like make a plan and accomplish something, but moving forward emotionally and spiritually in terms of holding those painful feelings, accepting them, and then putting them down. Let's get 3 cards of advice for you, Sagittarius, before we close out the reading. Your 3 cards of advice are the Emperor, the 9 of Wands, and the 6 of Pentacles. Now, the Emperor is one of the first cards that came out for you in this reading, and it came out to represent your need to understand what happened here. And there's something here about that desire for complete understanding and sort of control over yourself as really exhausting and kind of creating some resistance. You're really tired or you're really exhausted from whatever you went through, and there's a need to balance and ground and really recover. And the more you seek to kind of come out on top or be perfect or fully understand and integrate everything that happened and heal perfectly, that's actually going to kind of tire you out. You could be holding yourself to a really high standard when it comes to coming out of this experience, and that's kind of attached to that energy of what's next, I just want to open up, I just want to move forward. You're going through a lot, and I want to validate that. And there's kind of a need for balance and a need for rest. And some of you might be kind of lying down and resting all the time, but there's a need for mental rest, there's a need for spiritual rest, there's a need for emotional rest, there's a need for positive connection. And there's a part of you that might be kind of guarded to that process. So try to open up, let your walls down, and accept kind of what you're moving through. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this helps. I hope that this resonates, and I'll see you next time.